A very good evening to all our viewers. Welcome to the 38th episode of Let's Talk Inclusion. Of course, it's the World Autism Day special episode, and our very special guest for today's episode is Mr. Akhil Paul, founder director of Sense International India. Hello, Akhil. Welcome to Let's Talk Inclusion.
Hi, Manobina. Thank you very much for having you in your show.
Thank you for coming. So, I have something to show to our viewers. I have a slide. It tells about you. Let me just add this. Yes, I will not prefer to read the slide. So it's for
No,
our
not needed.
for
Not
our.
needed, Manobina. Really not
Uh,
needed. I'm just a small worker in the sector of disability. Please carry on. Not to worry about that. Really, please. Yeah.
but honestly, Akhil, we would love to know from your mouth what how you came to this profession, this field, or rather this service. I should not say this is a profession, this is a service. So, would love to know from you.
See, I after my MSW, Masters in Social Work, I started working for the National Association for the Blind, and that was mainly to work with blind people, young adults who lost the bus. Means they were not in any school or any training center. They were living in, their villages, in their houses. They were not living in any city, which, all the programs, training centers, special schools always remained in cities. But all children and adults who were visually impaired in villages, they were not getting much services. So the National Association for the Blind formed a committee called Rural Activities Committee. I became the national coordinator of that, and that gave me exposure to problems of um, young adults and children visually impaired, but they had so much to do, they had so much talent in them, unfortunately untapped. So our work was more community based rehabilitation. During that time I came across many children and adults with uh, additional disabilities. So we were trained to look into the needs of blind people, providing orientation mobility training, braille, and all those kind of things. But when there was additional disability, mainly to do with deafness, hearing, we were not aware what to do. And that, was something which was always sort of bothering me. And we got an opportunity. There was some guests who came to see a program from the Perkins School for the Blind in US. And Perkins is the Makkah for people with visual impairment and additional disabilities. So when they saw the kind of problems we are facing with additional disability children, they, after going back, they formed a course, a PG post graduation level course, and then send invite to about, I would say, around 11 people across the world. So there have been Perkins works all over the world. So we were people from Japan, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, India, um and I think Pakistan as well. So we were many who were there. That gave me exposure to working with deaf-blind people. And when I came back in 1993, uh, I started working only with deaf-blind. So we set up the first program in the Blind People Association in Ahmedabad for deaf-blind people, and that was the beginning. So it was more because of the inability, or I would say uh, our own inability to work with children who had blindness and additional disability, that I entered into the sector.
So nice. And you have worked with autistic young people as well.
Yes. So during our course on visual impairment and additional disability, there were many who had autism spectrum as well. So in a program. See, the issue is that most of the children with multiple disabilities end up in a program which is accepting every child.
Yeah.
If you make a very niche kind of program, then these children don't find place in those programs. So we used to get a lot of, I would say about 40 to 45% of our children who were coming to the center were actually with autism. So they might had visual impairment or other conditions, but definitely they were within the spectrum of autism. So that was condition, and that um, I think for the first 4 years it was very difficult because India at that time was learning about autism. I'm talking about early 90s,
Yeah.
and there was not much happening in the country at that time. So it was after 1990, I would say 1999, we got National Trust Act, which started talking about autism in a much bigger way, and there was more understanding. The government started awareness programs, and also organizations like Action for Autism, Mary Barua, they were the people who started talking about autism as one of the major disability areas. So my exposure with children with autism has been from quite early in my training.
Yeah, so nice. And here, just I just wanted to tell all our viewers that the theme for World Autism Day for the years 21, 22 has been inclusion in the workplace, challenges and opportunities in the post-pandemic world. And one more theme is added in 2022, that is inclusive quality education for all, and it is intrinsically linked with the other theme, emphasizing the critical importance of education for people on the autistic spectrum in realizing their full potential and achieving long-term employment success.
True.
Akhil is one of the few recruiters in India who provides equal opportunity while recruiting for his organization, as we are discussing. Akhil, could you please share with us your perspective of equality and inclusion in the workplace?
See, uh, equal opportunities or at workplace actually is all about embracing diversity. So it's nothing to do with any particular kind of condition, but we need
Yeah,
to be open to all, accepting all. uh, as an equal opportunity employer, Sense International India believes in same work, same rules, same pay. So it's not something that a person with disability comes in and they are paid substandard salary, or they are given I would say certain kind of work only. So all qualified people with disabilities are welcome. We put it in our job advertisements because we are a equal opportunity employer and we are open. So like we have people from various backgrounds, whether rural, urban, various cultures, various religions and castes, the same way people with disability are also welcome. And
yeah,
over the years, we have seen many people with disabilities who have come, particularly today when we talk about, people with autism, vis-a-vis in the workplaces. So we have one very smart colleague of mine, and he is doing great job, and I'll share with you more about him. But apart from staff with autism, we have staff who have problem of stammering. There is a deaf blind colleague we have, and these are all qualified uh, people. They are not there as a charity. They are there as their right. And that's what we want to tell the world, that we need to start using rights based approach in what we do. If we follow the rights based approach, then many doors will open, and there
yes,
will be a different kind of society we are going to create. So we need to get away from that particular model of charity. We need to move on more on the rights-based approach, because then only all of us will understand that with every right there comes a responsibility as well.
Yes. Actually, I was listening to you in the morning while you were addressing in one another online program, and you said it's basically a human right issue. So, as we said, we are a very ableist society. So we and kind of obsessed with the term disability. Everyone speaks about disability, but I really like the way you said that it's every human's right to get educated and to work. And I really liked it very much.
Absolutely. I
Uh,
mean, every child who is born has the same right as you and me. So, I mean, who are we to say that this particular child who is born and has different condition will lead a
yes,
life which we will create in a different way? That's not
exactly.
something which we, that's what is all about human rights.
Exactly. And maybe that is the reason, Akhil, I would like to add here. I never use the word disability as well because we have diverse conditions. And diversity is the thing I think we should say. And that's the concept of neurodiversity all about. And yes, I will come to the colleague of yours and would like to know more about him. And I would like my viewers to know more about him because I know him personally. He's a brilliant boy and not at all disabled, not at all. And yes, when you recruit autistic people in your organization, what challenges do you face working with them on a day to day basis? Do you at all face any challenge?
See, the challenges are going to be there when we recruit anyone new coming into
Yeah.
a culture. That's a natural thing. So what
Yes.
we don't look at the barriers at that time, but what we look at is solutions. That if there is a issue, how to solve it. First of all the colleagues in Sense International India are very well inducted in disability
Yeah.
colleagues with
Gonna happen.
disability. And that's something which we did it from day one when we started Sense International India. Because if an organization working with people with disability does not accept diversity, then who else will? So challenges are, I would say, first few months, the challenges are more on the interconnect between colleagues. In the sense, when there is a relationship as line manager, subordinate, that relationship to be smoothened take time, mainly because there are two individuals involved. There are not, it is not because there is a person with autism is involved in that relationship, not because of that. Because most of the people with autism only have one need, that they need to communicate on their own ways. We should not be expecting them to communicate or interact with us the way we do with others. And
Yeah.
that one small, I would say, adjustment in the culture of the organization helps a lot. And
Yes.
in terms of other problems we have faced is sometimes not with colleagues with autism, but with other conditions, that they come without understanding that when they join an organization there are certain rules to be followed. There are time, we need to have time in mind. We need to follow a certain culture in the organization. Also, in terms of when you are talking to others, what is the way you are going to talk to others? So it's more in terms of I would say soft skill training rather than anything else. And most of the time other disability colleagues with other disability thought that because we are an NGO
Yeah.
working with disability, they can do whatever they want when they come to Sense India. So again, it is more a question of training rather than anything else.
Yeah, yeah. So nice. And you have that culture in your organization. And what are the opportunities of working with autistic colleagues?
Oh, they are absolutely talented. They are so, I mean, I have worked with, in the last 25 years, about three of my colleagues have been autistic, including Mihir, who is with us at the moment. And we didn't have any problem in terms of them understanding what is required and the commitment and dedication. There has been never an issue. So, on the contrary, you and me might have a longer break when when we have lunch break or coffee break. We will wander around for a longer period as compared to my colleagues who have autism, because they will want to go and meet maybe one or two person whom
Yes.
with whom they have really good connect, and then they come back. And also the concentration,
Yeah.
because somewhere we have too many distractions, and for them I think the way of life is to get focused. And all these colleagues who joined in had gone through that initial, I would say, grooming, that their success lies in focusing. Whatever little task I have to do, I have to focus. I think that helped. And you know we have been very, very happy in terms of having colleagues with disabilities, particularly colleagues with autism, because they are if we don't become equal opportunity employer, if we do not hire or welcome colleagues with disability, then we are losing out, because they are equally committed, maybe more committed than any of us, because they are with lived experience. They know where the shoe pinches. They know, and they come with their own conviction, because they want to do better for others, not for themselves alone.
Yeah, very much so. And I wish the other recruiters in the country think in the similar way, similar on the similar lines. There are a few, a very few to be precise. And yeah, on the World Autism Day today, if people are listening to Mr. Akhil call, please give it a thought. That is the request from our side, us in I for Inclusion. And according to the National Health Portal of India, an estimated 80 million people in the country are believed to be living with autism. And despite the significant number of the autistic population, there is very little awareness about it in the
True.
country. And it leads to exclusion in schools, colleges, the workplaces, and society. Akhil, how do you think we can address these issues?
I think we need to get our children, our friends with autism, and we need to be out there. We need to be in the community. We need to be
Yeah.
in those crowded places, the malls, the restaurants, the cinema halls, wherever there are people. We need to be with them. The
Yeah.
more people see young adults, children with autism functioning in that arena, the more awareness will come. You know, I was listening to Smriti in the morning, and she was talking about, she takes her son to every place, even in the restaurant. And once they were sitting in a restaurant with all the commotion going on, and the way the family was, handling everything with the son, the family sitting next in the next table, they came to the table and said, we are so happy, we are actually, we feel that we have seen something which nobody else has seen, and we are so happy that you have a child who understands you. And that, for Smriti, it was a great learning. I remember, Mary and I have been on various government committees, numerous committees over the last 25 years, including the drafting committee on the Rights for Persons with Disability Act. And in every meeting, whatever the occasion, I've seen Mary bring Neeraj, her son. You know, you cannot be, you cannot do better advocacy than bringing our own children, young adults, and friends out in open and showcasing, not showcasing in a bad way, but showcasing that they are as good as us, they are
Exactly.
as average as us. That we have problems, they also have problems. We have bad days in our life, they also have bad days in their lives. So that, I think, what the problem is, if we continue to keep them in in centers, and then the narration will go out, oh, these are special children, oh, we need special things for them. So this word special, we need to somehow take it
Remove.
away, because
Yeah,
anything is special goes becomes elite. Anything is special goes out of our normal, I would say, life.
yeah.
So
I keep saying this when I interact with the parents. I'm associated with a school for or autistic or neurodivergent children and young people. So whenever they say, "Madam, मेरा बच्चा तो special है," तो मैं उनको वही बोलती हूँ कि see, I have a neurotypical child at home, but for me that child is the most special child in the whole wide world. So for a parent, every child is special,
absolutely.
irrespective of their so-called abilities,
Mhm.
right? And so if your child is special, mine is special too. Otherwise, and there are two extremes. Some people say that autism or neurodivergence is a curse, and some people say no, it is a blessing. I keep saying that it's neither a curse nor a blessing. It's a very normal thing, right? So we should not tag it as a curse or a blessing or something which is not comes naturally. So that's the way it is. I think we think on the similar lines here. And here is your colleague Mihir's mother wants to say something.
Hi, Anjali. Thanks for the comment. And he says, whatever I said, every word is to my son, who is ASD, is so happy working there in this organization that his office and colleagues are like another home for him. He's never
Yeah.
ever differentiated. Thanks so much. Oh, no, no, don't thank us. We learn with Mihir as well. He has also taught many things to us. And I think that's the bargain we have, because there are times when we say that we are an organization which is equal opportunity and we have safeguarding policies, but whenever until and unless someone comes to test it, we would never know how good our policies are. And that those questions are very important to be raised. And Mihir is a very, very intelligent person, and he is a switched on person. You won't believe, he is my donor engagement person. He calls the most important people to the organization donors, and he calls them up on phone. He sends emails, WhatsApp messages on their birthdays, special days, anniversaries. He is dealing with our external agencies who do telecalling for us, raising funds. So he deals with them, and whatever donation comes to Sense India, it comes with a form. He is the guy who feeds that those details into our donor management system. So he is a very important member of my public engagement team or fundraising team. So
So
it is not something which is just by chance happened. He wanted to be there because he's so good in data. He's so focused in data work, data management. And that is the strength he has. Fortunately, we got the opportunity to have him with Sense India.
so nice. And I'm really very proud of Mihir because he is like my son. And Anjali is a friend, that's why. Now, Zeba has something to say. Yes.
Very
It,
true. And you do very well, Zeba. I see you day in and day out, your whole family. I'm so proud of you and your family.
yes, Mihir is a very committed employee. Ziva is saying this. Mihir being the role model and
Yeah,
fundraiser.
Sushma, absolutely, Sushma, ma'am.
Akhil, I told you that I will take only 10 minutes time from your busy schedule, but we have already passed 25 minutes. So I will not take much of your time, but before we go, any concluding comment, any concluding advice for all of us who are watching you today?
I think what you are doing, Manobina, is great. In we need to, I would say, hammer every door. We cannot leave any door unlocked. We have to unlock all those doors, and we have to uh, prepare our young adults with autism to become self advocates. That's what
Yes,
is going to be the key in making inclusion a reality. See, what normally people are doing is, oh, please come and sit with us. That is not inclusion
no,
unless and until I go and sit with them. I
exactly.
go, that's where inclusion starts. And inclusion also within our work with children with autism and multiple disabilities. We need to, we need not differentiate or discriminate among children who are low functioning, high functioning, or the old formula of mild, moderate, and severe.
Exactly.
I think we need to do away with that because every child has every right to be what you and I can be. We will have, levels, but not every one of us become, multimillionaire. Not every one of us become professors. Not every one of us become scientists. So why we want every child with disability to become a certain, one thing? They can become whatever they want.
Exactly. And disability is also, I think, very subjective to some extent. Uh, like one of my students is a sea swimmer. He's on the autistic spectrum, and I can't swim. I tried a lot of time, but couldn't float. So if you think in that angle, maybe I have
You are
some
disabled.
disability, right? I'm disabled. So it's very subjective. So I honestly I never use the word disabled consciously, but it's on in the legislature. So sometimes, yes, of course, we have to say that persons with disability. But yes, we have diverse needs. Everyone is unique, and we have our unique needs. And thanks very much, Akhil. It was a learning experience speaking to you, and would love to be in touch and learn more from you in
Thank
future.
you very much. It was a pleasure. And quickly, I would like to share two more very quickly. We have
Yeah.
recently, got another colleague who has a problem of stammering. And
Okay.
when we were interviewing him, the last thing we always give a opportunity to our applicant that if you have any question. So after the interview, he asked, "Will I get the opportunity to work?" And we were shocked. I mean, we thought that why you're asking this? He said, "No, sir, I have been interviewed in many organizations. But after the interview is over, nobody gives me a call." And I said, by this, you have definitely qualified to be here because we will not discriminate against you. So that's one thing. And another colleague of mine who is deafblind, and actually she is a qualified physiotherapist, the first deafblind therapist physiotherapist in whole of Asia, and she is our advocacy officer, Shruti. So maybe someday you can talk to her as well. It will be a
Yeah,
great.
of course, I would love to meet her. maybe if give me permission, I can just drop in if it is
Sure,
okay with you.
sure. You
I would
you
like
not, you don't need my permission. You need to connect with Mihir, and he will do the needful.
sure. Thank you very much, Akhil. Thanks a lot. And
Thanks.
thank yeah, yeah, please carry on.
No, thanks a lot, and have a lovely evening. We have World Autism Day. Let's get out and talk to people about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thanks to the viewers as well. I wish all of you a happy World Autism Day. And yeah, and maybe we will be meeting soon next Friday with the 39th episode, on the 39th episode, and with one more expert who will talk about inclusion. Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks a lot, Akhil.
Thank you. Bye, Manobina. All the best. Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.